The pioneering spirit is nothing new to agriculture, as innovation has made farming in America the most productive and technologically advanced in the world. Yet, tomorrow will present a new set of challenges that'll require new ideas, inventions, and innovations. That is what Farm Next is all about, showing you the future of farming. From autonomous robots to cutting-edge digital tools to better ways to fertilize your crops and increase soil health, this program will give you a glimpse of the exciting future agriculture has in store. Stay tuned to see what's next on Farm Next. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this special edition episode of Farm Next. I'm Max Armstrong, and I'm thrilled to give you a front row seat into what's next in the world of agriculture. At the end of today's special edition, the final episode, we'll reveal which company from this season of Farm Next is the winner of the $50,000 grand prize. But before we get started, let's talk about a transformational technology that's here right now, microbes that can replace nitrogen fertilizer. Not that many years ago, the co-founders of Pivot Bio dreamed of creating a better way to provide nitrogen to crops. And like the inventors you'll hear from on Farm Next, they dedicated time, effort, and capital to turn their dream into a reality. And today, Pivot Bio's products deliver nitrogen to corn, wheat, and sorghum, and are being used by farmers all across the country. Pivot Bio knows just how challenging it is to transform an idea into a product and then get it into the hands of farmers. So Pivot Bio, together with Farm Progress, scoured the country and found 9 new entrepreneurs and their ideas that might just be what transforms the future of agriculture. In this season of Farm Next, 9 companies presented their ideas to a panel of experts, and of those 9 companies, 3 were selected as finalists for today's special edition final episode. The 3 finalists who are vying for the $50,000 grand prize are Sentinel Fertigation, a Nebraska-based startup that combines precise satellite imagery with fertigation control to maximize nitrogen use. We'll also hear from Lepidext, a Kentucky-based company that's revolutionizing insect pest control in the agriculture industry. And finally, Finite. That's a startup that is creating technology to transform manure into regenerative biofertilizer. We'll also hear from companies that we featured in Season 1 of Farm Next to find out where are they now. And we'll share conversations with some of the incubator groups that guide companies like the ones featured on this show on their startup journey. There's a lot of innovation coming your way on this special edition episode of Farm Next. So please stay tuned after these brief messages.
What does it take to deliver nitrogen to your crop? Fossil fuels, lots of them, from places near and far. Then you need ships, trains, trucks. Each step someone gets. Once it's on your farm, you have to store, manage, and drag it across the field. Each step you spend. With Pivot Bio, the nitrogen you need is already on seed. Our microbes deliver nitrogen no matter the weather, right from the kernel. The nitrogen you need, now on seed, from Pivot Bio.
Welcome back to Farm Next, the show that gives you a glimpse into the exciting future of agriculture. Before we get to this season's finalists, we wanted to give our audience some where are they now updates on the companies featured in last year's season of Farm Next. We'll hear from Dirk Vandenhertz. He's the CEO of Crop Zone. He'll be joining us in the studio all the way from Germany. Dirk will share some updates on Crop Zone and their hybrid herbicide technology. Oh, but first up is young Jack Keating and his company Corral Tech. They've created a virtual fencing system for cattle that you'll have to see to believe. Let's hear from Jack on how things are going since his appearance on Farm Next last season. Take a look.
I'm the CEO and founder of Corral Technologies, and what we do is create a virtual fencing system for cattle to allow us to remotely contain, move, and track those cows. We wanted to go on Farm Next last year because we wanted to actually showcase our system to a larger audience. We received a ton of outreach from ranchers across the US and really the globe after being on FarmNext, which was extremely exciting, being able to talk to all those producers. We've been able to go to several trade shows to actually showcase the system, get people's hands on it. We've been able to acquire about 4,000 pre-orders for callers. Yeah, I think the FarmNext show really exceeded my expectations. Just seeing the amount of people coming through the website was pretty mind-blowing. We're getting people from across the US, across the globe. I think talking with the panelists was an extremely great opportunity. It was a variety of different people, and being able to field their questions and kind of hear what they are thinking through when they think about our product was helpful going forward with investor conversations and also with different conversations with entrepreneurs and ranchers. I think advice I would give to other entrepreneurs in the ag industry would be, number one, get feedback from producers that you can implement into the product and make sure you're actually listening. You're not always right. Number two would make sure you have advisors there that can help you. You're not going to be the best at everything, and you need to make sure that you're aware of that. Number three is never give up. You're going to get kicked a lot. You just got to keep getting back up on the horse.
Well, with me now is another FarmNext participant from last season, Dirk Vandenhertz, CEO of Crop Zone. Dirk, you're joining us all the way from Germany. Welcome back. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me here again. It's a great pleasure. Last time we got a lot of feedback from that show, and I'm happy to be here again.
Remind us, if you would, what your company Crop Zone is all about.
Crop Zone was founded 2019, and we have developed a platform which allows farmers to shift to a herbicide-free farming. So they can use our systems to get crops harvest ready, or to burn down cover crops without any use of herbicides.
Tell us about your experience on FarmNext, if you would.
Well, FarmNext is a great platform. We got tons of requests to our equipment from Canada and from the US. So I think it's great to have that format, and I'm happy to join it again.
Well, tell us what's happened with Crop Zone since you appeared on the show a year ago. Update us.
Oh, we have developed a lot. We have increased the team a lot. We have hired a lot of people. There was a lot of requests, especially from North America. We have developed our technology furthermore. So when we started in Europe, our system could treat at 12-meter widths. And now we have developed a trailered system, which allows farmers to apply our technology on 24 meters. That allows to break down costs, of course, and it makes the whole system much more economically viable.
What demand signals from growers, consumers, and other stakeholders are you seeing for alternative herbicide management technologies?
Well, a lot of farmers, there's several reasons why farmers shift away from herbicides. One reason is that herbicides have been developed in the late 60s or early 60s even, and they don't work that efficient anymore. So farmers are looking for more efficient solutions. The other is regulation. The regulators take away a lot of the toolboxes of herbicides for farmers, and this is why they have to look for alternatives. And then there is consumer demand. Consumer demand directly to consumers, but also through downstream, like players like Kellogg's, PepsiCo, Nestle. They are looking for residue-free products. To produce them, well, you need alternatives to chemical herbicides, and that's why farmers are actively looking for these alternatives, because it allows them to get a better price and a better product. And that's what we're supporting them.
Well, it's great to hear updates from Dirk and Jack from Season 1 of FarmNext. Hey, if you want to learn more about Crop Zone, just go online and visit crop.zone. Again, that's crop.zone. And to take a closer look at Corraltech's cattle fencing system, you go to their site, corraltech.com. Next, we'll hear from Ag Startup Engine. Now, this is an ag incubator that guides companies just like the ones on this show on their startup journeys. Take a look.
I'm Joel Harris. I'm the executive director of the Ag Startup Engine. We're an early seed fund based in Iowa, investing in agriculture technology startups. So Ag Startup Engine is specifically a seed fund, but the value we provide is for access to our network of investors and partners. And then we provide some kind of subsidized services like this office space, access to legal and accounting services, and really branding opportunity. Ag Startup Engine was founded in early 2017. There were a few institutional investors in the state of Iowa that were seeing a lot of really early stage companies with great ideas, but they hadn't established either a minimum viable product or a product market fit. And we wanted to create some sort of vehicle where we could provide a little bit of capital, give them some time to develop their product or their business, and that would then set them up for future funding. A graduate coming out of Iowa State University, giving them $25,000 to $50,000 to chase their dream for a year, than to take a traditional entry-level job at a big ag company. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to focus on alternative career paths for building businesses. The things that we look for really start with the founder. They don't need to be technologists by any means, but they just need to understand the problem and the need for a 10x better solution. To date, we have over 30 startups that we've invested in, like Clayton Farms. They're delivering fresh lettuce that's grown 1 degree of separation from where it's grown to where it gets to the consumer. Haber Technologies, which is bringing technology to grain bins. Clear Flame Engines, which is converting diesel engines to run on ethanol. Really our values is around helping entrepreneurs be as successful as possible to kind of navigate the complexities of raising money from investors or working with strategic partners. We all have experience and have exited companies or grown companies, and we try to share our experiences with the other founders in the Ag Startup Engine. We really set out to put a flag down and say, we're in the middle of Iowa, we're in the middle of agriculture. We should be the ones that know what is applicable to what we need to do, what challenges we need to solve. And then since then, we've grown to invest in companies outside of the state, because agriculture is bigger than the Midwest and it's global. As an agriculture founder or technologist, you're trying to solve a problem that at the end of the day is going to put food on somebody's table, or improve the welfare of animals, or improve the profitability of 2% of the US population, which are our farmers. That's a lot to put on people's shoulders, but those that are willing to do that could be a financial as well as a moral reward. Everything's a learning process. I'm continuing to learn, and I'm learning from these other companies that we invest in. So it's not a one-way relationship, which is great.
Oh my, it's eye-opening, isn't it? To learn about all of the work that goes into turning an idea into reality. We're certainly grateful to all those in the ag tech community for finding new ways to serve growers and to bring new tools to meet the needs of the farms for years to come. After these brief messages, we'll hear from a few more innovators from Season 1. Stay tuned later in the show as we reveal the $50,000 grand prize winner from this season of Farm Next.
This Pro Box has enough seed to plant 125 acres of corn. Now, if you wanted to put 40 pounds of nitrogen on those acres, you'd need 1,200 gallons of anhydrous, or 1,500 gallons of UAN, or 5 tons of urea. What if you had the nitrogen you need already on seed? Pivot Bio is the first company to apply nitrogen on seed. The nitrogen you need, now on seed, from Pivot Bio.
Welcome back to Farm Next, the show that gives you the front row seat into what's next in the world of agriculture. Now, before we reveal the $50,000 grand prize winner from this season of the show, we're catching up with contestants from last season to learn where are they now. Next up is the father and son team of Ben and Chad Johnson and their amazing grain handling robot, the Grain Weevil. Let's take a look.
We at Grain Weevil are very passionate about farm safety as well as efficiency in the storage process. We were very lucky to be selected as a participant in last year's Farm Next program.
The exposure that we gained through this program just really helps us make connections with our customers. And I think that's the important part of all of ag tech, is building those relationships.
So being on Farm Next has really helped our business. We've been able to reach 80 million views across our social media, and that has paid dividends when talking to investors, other large corporations in our space. And so we've really been able to hone in on what is most important to get the robot out there safely and quickly to start helping farmers and workers on the commercial side as well.
it's super easy for us to say our mission with little taglines, doing the work that no farmer should, or doing work that no human could. Those are all things that we talk about with our robot. But really to be able to articulate how we're solving those problems as a business, not just as a cool robot, I think that's really a big part of, what that experience kind of helped us start to focus in on some of those skills. Imagine if we went from the hundreds of accidents and 20 or 30 deaths a year inside of grain bins down to 0. That's our mission. And it's possible with tools like the Grain Weevil. If you have an idea, just take a chance, build it, go find help. There's lots of people in this ecosystem that want to help you solve your problems and make it happen.
Grain Weevil is a great example of what this show is all about, providing a platform for innovative companies with important missions like supporting farmer profitability and farmer safety. The exposure they receive from the show is remarkable, and we sure do wish them all the best. If you want to learn more about Grain Weevil, you just go online to grainweevil.com. That's grainweevil.com. Well, joining me now remotely is another alumni from our show, Hunter Swisher, and his company, Phospholutions. Hey, Hunter, thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me again.
Remind our audience, if you would, what your company, Phospholutions, is all about.
Yeah, so Phospholutions was founded in 2016 under the belief that sustainable production and responsible use of phosphorus is critical to supporting a growing food demand. So really at Phospholutions, we're focused on developing solutions that improve phosphorus fertilizer efficiency.
Well, reflect back, if you would. Tell us about your experience, what it was like here on Farm Next.
Yeah, it was a great experience to get some exposure, to be able to talk with the panelists, have conversations with Karsten, and really be able to tell our story about what we're trying to build.
So I have to ask, what's new? What's new with Phospholutions since you appeared on the show a year ago?
Yeah, so our biggest announcement is we've officially launched our Risosorb 839O product to market. This is a replacement product for traditional conventional phosphates. It's a product that we're promoting here through ag retail in the U.S. and primarily focused on row crops such as corn and soybean. The product's now available here in the U.S. as of this spring and currently ramping up and scaling up our channel partnerships.
One of this season's finalists, Finite, is exploring ways to mine manure pits to create regenerative biofertilizer. It's exciting to see other companies are taking inspiration from your story to tackle the phosphorus challenge. So have you seen increased interest in addressing the challenges related to phosphorus availability and phosphorus efficiency on the farm?
Yeah, I think phosphorus has certainly become a nutrient that's getting a lot more attention in the plant nutrition, nutrient use efficiency space. I think farmers are certainly demanding better solutions for managing phosphate use, and I think that starts from a pretty holistic approach, and we're really excited to see more up-and-coming solutions and attention to be put on this space.
Well, thank you, Hunter. Thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck with Phospholutions moving forward.
Thank you so much for having me again.
And if you folks watching want to learn more about Phospholutions, go to phospholutions.com. Again, that's phospholutions.com. Coming up next, we'll hear from another ag incubator called Ag Ventures Alliance. Now, this nationally recognized farmer-owned organization's primary purpose is making early-stage investments in innovative technologies that will enhance on-farm profitability. Let's take a look here.
My name is Spencer Stensrud. I lead Ag Ventures Alliance. We invest in innovation with a mission to increase farm profitability. Farmers capture a very small percentage of every dollar that's spent on food. And we believe that the best way to reposition farmers in the value chain is actually through innovation. And that's why we have focused on working with startups. Big companies are good at incremental improvement. Startups are good at bringing new technology to the world. That's where most of the change happens. A successful startup founder is always going to have grit. You just have to have that tenacity and the never give up attitude. That's going to be common across all founders. Taking the leap full time can be a challenge. That's kind of where we step in and make that possible. The thing that is different about what we're doing is that we have farmers involved at every step of the way. We have farmers involved in the due diligence process before we invest. We have them involved in the selection process when we approve a new investment. We then try to match farmers with the founders and startups to test that technology in the field. After that, we have kind of a wider network of early adopters that can see the positive results of some of these field trials and adopt new technology. And that leads to further investment and value creation for the startups. It really does impact everybody though. We all eat, we all rely on farmers. It's not hard to make the connection from keeping the farmers vibrant and profitable and sustainable, because that's going to lead to better outcomes for consumers. It's been an amazing experience the last 7 years. It feels like there's an underground world of good people who are willing to take a chance and help you build your dream. Seeing the startups become successful is really fulfilling. When they get the first customer or they build the prototype and it turns out that it actually works this time. As an early investor, you kind of feel like you've been there, like you've been a part of it. There's actually one called Lepidex where they are engineering insects to control other corn earworm moths in the field. There are big waves of technology that are coming for agriculture, and we're trying to usher those in the best ways possible. And the way that we see that is having farmers at the center of innovation. There's just really smart people working on solving problems in agriculture, and that is, in a nutshell, what's most exciting to me about the future of ag.
It's great to learn about all of the work that goes into helping entrepreneurs in agriculture develop their ideas in order to serve growers across the country. Hopefully, we'll continue to see new innovation on the farm coming out of incubators like Ag Ventures Alliance. Well, after these brief messages, we'll get an in-depth look at the 3 finalists vying for the $50,000 grand prize from this season of Farm Next. So, stay tuned.
On the farm, there's no such thing as a day without work. For some jobs, there's only the hard way, the way it's always been done. But when it comes to nitrogen, now there's a better way with Pivot Bio. Farmers deserve a nitrogen that works as hard as they do, one that stays with the crop until the job is done. It's time to turn to a better nitrogen.
Welcome back to Farm Next, the show that gives you a glimpse into the exciting future of agriculture. Now, before we get to our 3 finalists, here's a quick recap of all of the companies that were featured this season on Farm Next.
Hello judges, I'm Jackson Stansel, founder and CEO of Sentinel Fertigation. At Sentinel Fertigation, we're leveraging satellite imagery and geospatial data to empower precision nitrogen management, especially for farmers who fertigate. InTime ingests satellite imagery from best-in-class commercial sources on a daily basis and uses our proprietary analytics that use strategically placed and paired nitrogen-rich and nitrogen-poor plots to isolate the impacts of nitrogen from other stress factors, to quantify crop nitrogen status, and ultimately to provide a 7-day crop need outlook.
Hi, I'm Mark DeSantis, CEO of Bloomfield. What these guys are doing is a routine that's common in the fruits and vegetable farms all over the world, and it's been going on for 10,000 years. They're looking at the performance of the plant and matching it against expectations. And if it's not meeting expectations, they do treatments to the plant during the year, and as it evolves, they'll get a higher yield, higher quality yield, more consistent yield. We solve that problem by taking our own camera, which we've built, embedded with AI, specifically deep learning image processing, that was developed over about a decade at Carnegie Mellon University in the Robotics Institute, and we duplicate to some extent what the human is doing.
Hi, I'm Jacob Hansen with ALA Engineering. We're an innovation startup spun out of Aulick Industries, an industry-leading manufacturer of agricultural equipment. Our product will have significant and positive impacts on producers. It is designed to increase service lives of feedlot vehicles, reduce feed waste, reduce or even eliminate skilled labor shortages and their associated risks, and improve efficiencies and costs. Rather than having one driver per vehicle, now you can have 1 or 2 people managing an entire fleet of vehicles.
Hi, I'm Jason Reiner, an Iowa farmer and founder of Re-Envision Ag. Farmers make the most money when we plant as early as possible into an ideal planting window. The problem is that Iowa State has quantified that we're losing that time. We've lost 27% of the days suitable for spring field work. Our seed spike is the first planter designed for the soil health era. The simplest way to plant a seed with the most precision and the least amount of soil contact is to press a seed into the soil and then fill the remaining hole. And that's what we do.
Hello, my name is Dylan Hurd, president and co-founder of Haber Technologies. I grew up in a small town, Story City, Iowa.
And I'm Eric Harberger, CTO and co-founder.
Each year, farmers spend approximately $6.6 billion on energy drying their crop. And in the process, they additionally emit about 20 million tons of CO2.
This year, we launched the Auto Bin, which is a grain bin monitoring system that allows farmers to run their fans according to the weather, allows them to track their temperature, and it also allows them to track their energy usage. On top of that, there's a grain bin camera on top that allows them to view their corn without climbing their bin.
Hi, I'm Maria.
And I'm Bruce.
And we are Lepidex. To impart big changes, you need to believe that you can. And you also need a strong technology, an opportunity, and the team.
At Lepidex, we're working on a new technology that can sterilize the moth to prevent the pest. In Steris, our new technology is effective, it's field tested, it's a biopesticide, and it's easy to apply.
Hi, Dakota Hoban, co-founder and CEO of Farmers Risk.
And I'm Eric Barnard, co-founder and CTO.
And we're here to tell you about Farmers Risk, the ultimate farm marketing tool for farmers today. Our software provides farmers and their advisors the most accurate source of revenue at any given point in time on the farm by combining real market data with their cash, hedges, and insurance positions into one singular dashboard.
I'm John Masco, founder and CEO of LeafTech Ag, located in East Central Indiana.
And I'm Gage Masco, CTO and co-founder of LeafTech Ag.
We have developed a method to measure the spectral signature of nitrogen and all the nutrients of a crop, as well as other crop characteristics. It is with this information that we are able to scan, and Gage will demonstrate the simplicity of placing a leaf into the scan bed, hit scan, the data is then transmitted to the cloud where it is then processed. It takes a couple minutes for the data to come back where you can actually see the nutrient profile of the plant in a couple minutes, and then we also interact and integrate with other crop management softwares.
G'day, I'm Jordan Fazy, founder of Finite. We are an ag robotics company that makes fertilizer out of manure and has the potential to capture 25% of a $20 billion market. We use a combination of fans and our robotic mixing device to enhance the drying rate. And this is what delivers the proprietary breakthrough in low-cost drying for Finite.
It's great to see all 9 companies from this season of the show. If you want to learn more about each company, just go to farmnext.com. Also, plan to come visit us at the Farm Next Innovation Tent at the Farm Progress Show. The show is coming up quickly in Decatur, Illinois, August 29th through the 31st, and there you can meet the brilliant minds behind these innovative companies, and you can get an in-person view of what's next in agriculture. Now, before we get to the final portion of the program, the final panel deliberation and vote, we wanted to share some in-depth stories on each of our finalists. And up first is Jackson Stansel, CEO and co-founder of Sentinel Fertigation. Our video crew caught up with him near his home base of Lincoln, Nebraska to learn more about Jackson and his exciting company.
I'm Jackson Stansel. I'm the founder and CEO of Sentinel Fertigation. Sentinel Fertigation is an ag tech company based in Lincoln, Nebraska, that's leveraging satellite imagery and geospatial data to empower precision nitrogen management, especially for farmers who fertigate. So I was always drawn to science in some capacity. I guess the earliest memories that I have are, trying to do the little paleontology kits as a kid and all those sorts of things. But as an 8th grader, I was actually the CEO of our Best Robotics organization, so was helping to lead the technological development, was kind of pitching to the judges about what our robot could do. And that continued throughout high school with Science Olympiad and Quiz Bowl and all of these different things. And I knew going into college I wanted to pursue engineering just because it allowed me to leverage, the math and science skills for the benefit of creating something that could actually impact the world. Innovation Campus is a campus that's right off of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's campus, and it was built to house startups as well as industry partners. And so the idea is that by getting industry partners that are established alongside startups, you kind of cultivate an ecosystem where everybody is tapped into the resources that they need. The Combine Ag Tech Incubator is part of Innovation Campus. There are also several Combine companies that have been in Farm Next, and we were part of the Ag Launch Accelerator, and several Combine companies have had the opportunity to go through Ag Launch as well. So it's been a really great thing for Nebraska and specifically for Lincoln to have the Combine here kind of building the ag tech ecosystem in the state. Agriculture is applied science at its core. For farmers, they're ultimately trying to run a business, but also deal with the most complex scientific system that you really can deal with. It's a natural environment that you have very little control over, in which there's biology, chemistry, and physics taking place every single day. So when you think about applied sciences and a complex applied science, agriculture is right there at the top of the list. And I think the opportunity to engage in that really challenging and complex domain is a really exciting thing just from a scientific perspective, not even considering anything else. So right after our first episode went to air, we were contacted by a farm out in the western part of the United States that said they had seen us on Farm Next and were really interested in what we were doing. They fertigate, pretty much all of the acres that they have, and they're looking for ways to optimize nitrogen because the products that they're producing cannot be high in nitrates, but also have it be of a quality where it can be purchased and sold the right sort of price point that they're looking for. So we were just really excited to have that sort of response after just one episode of Farm Next, and we're hopeful and believe that we will have similar responses as time progresses after Farm Next. I'm very, very thankful that we have the opportunity to be a finalist. Obviously, we're very hopeful that we will have the opportunity to win the $50,000 prize. I think it'll enable us to hire, the additional right pieces of talent that are going to add to our organization and take us to the next level and really achieve some of those technology milestones that we have for increasing the breadth of our technology and how it's able to impact farmers, not only here in Nebraska, but nationwide.
Jackson certainly has a great story, and he has the passion to solve one of the most important challenges in agriculture: how to manage nitrogen fertilizer. We'll see if the panel decides to vote for Sentinel as the winner of this season of Farm Next later in the program. Well, up next is Lepidex. That's the Kentucky-based company revolutionizing insect pest control in the field. Let's head out to the bluegrass state of Kentucky and spend a little time with Maria and the Lepidex team.
My name is Maria Labrova. I'm the chief strategist at Lepidex. Lepidex was founded after the discovery of Ensteris. This virus exists in nature and it causes sterility in corn earworm. What Lepidex did was develop the virus so that we can guarantee that the virus causes sterility 100% of the time.
I mean, if you can reduce pesticide application and can control these pests by just releasing insects without really having an impact on the environment, I mean, you can't ask for more. I mean, that's really what motivates me.
What it feels to be at a startup is you're always drinking from the fire hose. It's always chaos. There's always more to do than you can really get done. We're very, very close to our final submission for the EPA. It is a 12,000 page document. Every single one of our team members is there to help, and it's either to feed the insects or to write part of that or to read it or to edit it or to put the 1001 links that go into a document to make sure that that document is strong and that it responds to what the agency is looking for.
I mean, our team is amazing. They are just putting their heart and soul in this project. They are open to suggestions, and we are open to suggestions too. I mean, it's really a team. I mean, we work together.
Our presentation at PharmNext and having the opportunity to meet with the panel and be grilled by the panel is great. Any opportunity that you have to have somebody tell you what they don't understand and or where they think your blind spot is a great opportunity. We know that this technology, because of its nature, it can be used in row crops, it can be used in very large acreage, and that's our next task, and that's what the market is looking for. We started receiving feedback from farmers from different areas in the United States. So what we're looking forward to is getting more of that feedback, having those voices telling us, you're doing this right, you're doing this wrong.
For me, and I think for Lepidex as well, the ultimate goal is to bring this product to market. I can't wait until like the first farmer goes into the field and releases our insects.
My, oh my, what an interesting approach to pest management. Maria and the team certainly have the opportunity to help growers across the country manage pests in a new way. We'll see if the panel decides to vote for Lepidex as the winner of this season of PharmNext later in the program. But now up next is our final company, Finite, and its CEO and co-founder, Jordan Fazey. Finite is a startup that is creating technology to transform manure into regenerative biofertilizer. We went out to the field to see Finite's robotic system in action, and we caught up with Jordan on the farm.
I'm Jordan Fazey, the founder of Finite. Finite is an agri-robotics company that produces a recycled fertilizer product from manure. I'm a water and wastewater engineer from Australia. In Australia, my work was to do the drinking water treatment for remote Aboriginal communities spread out across the top end of Australia. In my spare time, I got interested in finding ways to make money out of treating waste. Half the world's population relies on synthetic fertilizer to eat and to live. Nitrogen fertilizer is made out of the air, but phosphorus is made from finite mined resources that are in the ground. So phosphorus is a finite resource, and that's actually where the name for Finite comes from. The problem that the world has is that the world is running out of inexpensive phosphorus resources, and that creates a big problem in terms of food security, particularly in developing countries. When fertilizer prices rise, people starve. And the world's biggest resources exist within the animal manure that is produced by animal farms. We want to turn animal farms into the renewable fertilizer mines of the future, creating a sustainable loop for recycling natural resources in agriculture. No environmental solution will work if people cannot afford to adopt it. And so my desire has always been to develop approaches that will pay for themselves, and Finite is born out of a technology that's able to do that. The phosphorus from manure produced by animal farms in America could supply 40% of America's phosphorus needs, but a large fraction of that is not being recycled efficiently right now, particularly the phosphorus within manure. And by being able to recycle, take these resources from farms that are producing them in a concentrated fashion, and then dry them into a dry, transportable product that is valuable, and then selling it, that's the future for making agriculture sustainable. Agriculture has been innovating for all of its history, but particularly in the last 200 years. My experience is that the best thing you can do is put a technology in the hands of farmers, because farmers will make it better for you. The farmers that we work with typically have owned the land on their farm for several generations, and they really feel that they are stewards of the land, and it's critical for them to manage it appropriately and to hand it on to the next generation. I think every innovator and entrepreneur needs to be self-driven and needs to teach themselves what things are good ideas or not, and just learning to start things by yourself without relying upon someone else to tell you whether it was a good idea or not. There are 7 billion people in the world now. There are going to be 9 or 10 billion in 2050, and we have to figure out how to feed all these new people using the same or even less farmland than what we have now. And so for me, I feel like I am a person that can really make a difference in that space, and Finite is a company that has an opportunity to do something that's really unique there, and that's what makes me want to do this.
What an inspirational story. An Aussie coming to the States to help solve our fertilizer challenge while providing pig and milk producers another source of revenue. Well, up next is the moment you've all been waiting for, our final panel deliberation and vote. Stay tuned to see which of the 3 finalists will win the $50,000 grand prize right after this brief timeout.
This Pro Box has enough seed to plant 125 acres of corn. Now, if you wanted to put 40 pounds of nitrogen on those acres, you'd need 1,200 gallons of anhydrous, or 1,500 gallons of UAN, or 5 tons of urea. What if you had the nitrogen you need already on seed? Pivot Bio is the first company to apply nitrogen on seed. The nitrogen you need, now on seed, from Pivot Bio.
Well, welcome back to Farm Next, and the final portion of the show, the panel deliberation and the vote for the winner of this season of Farm Next. Now that we've heard from our 3 finalists, our panel will give their input on which company has the most potential to be the winner of the $50,000 grand prize. On our panel here is Chris Abbott, an investor in the agriculture industry with the Conti Ag Ventures. Karsten Temme, CEO and co-founder of Pivot Bio. And finally, Lisa Peterson, a grower from Osage, Iowa. Well, before we get into the selection process, let's review here the experience on this show of the judges. Chris, first of all, share with us, please.
Yeah, thanks, Max, for having me. This is my first year on the show, and I really enjoyed the passion behind these entrepreneurs and the technologies that were solving real problems.
Karsten, what about yourself?
You know, I love getting to meet the entrepreneurs and hear how they're turning an idea into businesses that can have an impact.
Lisa, did you enjoy your experience?
I did. This kind of gives us a window into the future of agriculture and where technology is going, where new businesses are going, and how that'll ultimately impact farmers like me.
Now let's review those 3 companies, Sentinel, Lepidex, and Finite. Well, share with us, panelists, your overall view of what you saw here. First, Chris?
Yeah, Max, I really liked all 3 companies. They're solving critical challenges in crop protection at Lepidex and crop fertility around Sentinel and Finite. And so I thought that all 3 were great businesses solving real problems that have an impact both on grower profitability and sustainability.
Karsten, what did you see out of those 3?
Well, I'll build on that and say it's great to see how there's a disruptive idea, a new way of tackling a known and old problem in all 3 cases.
Lepidex is going to rely on advisors and potentially crop protection partners as a comprehensive solution, an integrated pest management solution. Sentinel is going to require partnership by irrigation businesses. And Finite has a lot of work to do in deploying its robots and system out where waste is produced at the protein producer level. And so each of them will require a partner to get to market. And so what I'm excited about for them being on Farm Next is the exposure to partners and all of us to help them get to market.
Also with Sentinel, you have that as well. They're already irrigating. Those farmers that are fertigating already, this is an easy way to pop in and just to be able to give them some more data and analysis around that. So pretty easy uptake, I think, from a farmer perspective as well. And finally, Finite. That's solving a problem that's costing a farmer money right now. How do you get rid of animal waste? And they found a way to turn profitability on that in an environmentally friendly way. So all of those are causing some changes to how a farmer operates, but all for the better.
The level of investment certainly is different in each of those, isn't it? That has to be accomplished there. How do you feel about this, Chris, that change and what it could mean to the farmer?
Yeah, I think again, my earlier point, they're solving problems that matter. So in this case, the grower is looking for solutions out of necessity. And whether it's Lepidex, whether it's Finite, or whether it's Sentinel that's providing insights to that, farmers are ready and willing to change. They've been adopting technology for decades because growers are there ready to adopt these technologies, assuming they're in a position to scale.
Karsten, do you feel that for each of these there's enough of a critical mass of the farmer market there, sensing this change and how it could benefit them, that each of these can be successful?
I think there's a little bit of tuning that each will go through to really resonate with the average grower. So Lepidex, moths aren't going to stay put. They're going to float across your field, your neighbor's field. That might influence the way that Lepidex needs to go to market or how their business model actually works. Similar for Sentinel, right now they need to have those check strips, the unfertilized strips within that pivot. And what happens when you want to move to serve growers that don't use the pivot irrigation? There's a few aspects of the way they want to scale that they still have to figure out. And I think the same is true when we're talking about Finite as well. They've got an early idea that can work in some types of animal operations, but not necessarily all types. I think Lisa's pointed out in our earlier episode how there's going to be some tweaks needed to really resonate for growers in Iowa.
Share with me your view of those stories. First of all, Lisa, you please.
I really enjoyed this story of Finite, and for him coming from Australia to the United States and now staying in the United States and building a company that is meeting a need, not only in the United States, but also could have some impact around the world as well. But his passion around recycling of nutrients and waste management was just fascinating for me.
As one who has his own story, Karsten, I would imagine you take great interest in similarities, yet very significant differences.
You can really see how the passion is the fuel that keeps these entrepreneurs cranking away at impossible problems every day. And that's true. Take the story of Sentinel. From the earliest moments growing up in Georgia to now being able to link to groundwater issues that are starting to rise up.
It's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a hard journey for these businesses to scale. The passion is what ultimately is going to get them through, and you can see that in each of their stories. As Lisa mentioned, an Aussie comes to the U.S., takes a founder's journey to start this business in North Carolina. Sentinel, University of Nebraska, building a robotics and automation center now in Lincoln, which he's a part of, is a great story. And then the Lepidex team, you can just see it on their face. They need solutions in that region around resistance and around crop protection, and this is a totally novel way to do it. And so you see that passion from these entrepreneurs. That's ultimately what's going to make or break an entrepreneur being successful when the times get hard.
Indeed, well said, Chris. Well, we've finally arrived at that moment you've all been waiting patiently for. Stay tuned to see our panel vote and see them decide which of our companies will be the winner of this season of Farm Next after these brief messages.
What does it take to deliver nitrogen to your crop? Fossil fuels, lots of them, from places near and far. Then you need ships, trains, trucks. Each step someone gets. Once it's on your farm, you have to store, manage, and drag it across the field. Each step you spend. With Pivot Bio, the nitrogen you need is already on seed. Our microbes deliver nitrogen no matter the weather, right from the kernel. The nitrogen you need, now on seed, from Pivot Bio.
Well, welcome back to Farm Next, and what could be a bit of a heated conversation about who should be the winner of the $50,000 grand prize. Who do you choose, Chris?
For me, Max, I'm voting with the Big Ten, and I'm going to pick Sentinel. I loved the solution around remote sensing data coming out of the University of Nebraska, solving challenges around crop fertility, yield, and crop modeling. I also think the scalability of that solution sets it apart from the others, so I vote Sentinel.
Sentinel. Karsten, do you concur or disagree?
I disagree. I've got to go with Finite. And Finite is taking just the fundamental laws of thermodynamics to solve a waste challenge and address one of our biggest opportunities in agriculture. How do we solve for a finite amount of phosphorus on this planet?
Lisa, It's in your hands now. Who would you choose?
This is not an easy one for me because I see the benefits and how each one of these companies is going to make an impact in their respective industries. But I'm actually going to buck these two and go with Lepidex. You heard me talking about them quite a bit on the show here today so far, and I just think they are such a disruptor in the marketplace and such a novel way to go to market to solve a problem that is quite large in the Mid-South.
My, it's a tie. Who would have expected this? Well, now, we have to eliminate somebody. We have to pick a winner here. So we've got to go back through this process. We have to flip the script. Chris, who will you eliminate?
I would eliminate Lepidex. I'm gonna continue to vote towards the crop fertility and the fertilizer issues that we have. So I think Sentinel and Finite are the two that solve that challenge. So I would get rid of Lepidex.
I'm going to vote to eliminate Sentinel. I think they've got a great idea, but right now I find it hard to imagine how they're going to be able to move beyond serving the pivot irrigated acres.
Lisa?
Why do I have to be the tiebreaker, Max? I'm going to vote to eliminate Sentinel as well. And I think that the market opportunity in both Lepidex and Finite, I see a bigger market opportunity for those two. So that's why I'd like to keep those two as the finalists.
Well, Sentinel has been eliminated. That was a tough choice, to be sure. Very difficult. But now the two of you, Lisa and Karsten, let's see if you can convince this guy to see it your way.
Well, obviously, he has to go with Lepidex. That is the most reasonable and obvious choice, Chris. And the reason why I think you should still go with Lepidex is it is solving a problem in the marketplace that's now. With BT and challenges for farmers to be able to control corn earworm, this is a novel solution that solves that problem.
Karsten.
At Pivot, we give every new employee a book. It's called The Alchemy of Air, and it tells the history of nitrogen. And it really tells the invention of nitrogen fertilizer. Haber and Bosch, these two guys invented nitrogen. And most people, I'm sure, are well aware of Norman Borlaug's contributions to fertilizer and its use around the world. And we really want everybody at Pivot to understand we're writing the next chapter of the story of nitrogen. And I think Finite is onto something similar, that I'd recommend everybody to check out a book. It's called The Devil's Element. It just came out a couple of months ago, and it tells the history of the story of phosphorus. And I think Finite is writing the next chapter in that story.
Chris, how convincing were these two? Did they win you over?
Well, they were great arguments, Max. I'm going to continue to vote with the concept of improving how we use fertilizer. I agree with Karsten that Finite is really onto something which I think is both a better use of phosphate, but also solving a problem around waste, which we have in this country and in other countries in our water system and in our soil. And I think if we can mine the waste that we have and use it in a higher value case like fertilizer replacement, I think that's the way to go. So I vote Finite.
Well, it's been quite a journey, and you folks have done a superb job. Chris, Karsten, and Lisa, thank you so much for the work here, the heavy lifting that you've done in making this decision. Yes, indeed, the panelists have spoken, and the winner is Finite. Congratulations to Jordan Fazy and his company for being the winner of the $50,000 grand prize. Well, we had the chance to surprise Jordan out on the farm with that big news. Let's take a look.
Oh, so the home setting on this one doesn't do the whole thing. On the V1.3, when you hit home, it brings it up and across and then back.
Pardon me. Hey, Jordan, how are you?
Good,
Max Armstrong.
Yes,
remember
good
me?
to see you, yes.
Nice to see you. I hear you just learned you were a finalist.
That's right.
Farm Next Season 2. Well, guess what? It gets better than that. You are the winner. Yes. Yeah, congratulations. Are you just a little bit surprised?
I can't believe it.
What will this allow you to do? What are you thinking about?
So we have some expansions of our operations that we are doing now. So we have 2 new production systems that we're building at the moment, and some extra work that we're doing on expanding our processing capacity, and this will let us do that.
And you consider, all of the other projects that were a part of this Season 2 of Farm Next as well. I mean, some great products, proposals, procedures, innovations being offered here, and you won out of the pack.
Yeah, like I literally returned from Australia less than 24 hours ago. And yeah, this is amazing news.
Well, Jordan, congratulations again as being the winner of Farm Next and collecting $50,000 here for Finite. We're going to head on back down the road. Don't spend that all in one place now. We look forward to seeing how Jordan and Finite move forward as the winner of this season of Farm Next. Now, if you'd like to meet Jordan or any of our contestants of the Farm Next series this year, come visit us at the Farm Next Innovation Tent at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois, August 29th through the 31st. And there you can meet the brilliant minds behind these innovative companies and get an in-person view of what's next in agriculture. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for tuning into this season of Farm Next, the show that gives you a front row seat into what's next in the world of agriculture. Farm Next has been brought to you by Pivot Bio. Pivot Bio, the nitrogen that stays put, whether or not. Farm Next is produced by 22 Creative Group in association with REL Productions and has been a presentation of Farm Progress Broadcast.